Hey everyone, and welcome to the weekly Freelance Bar podcast. I'm Scott, and I'm ready to dive into some tech news this week.
I'm Sarah.
This week is just crazy.
It is.
It's just a ton of stuff happening. AI breakthroughs, some security issues. Let's jump right in.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so first up, Cloudflare is tackling fake images online.
Right.
They're partnering with Adobe using something called content credentials.
Yeah, so this is a big deal because it's getting harder and harder to know if what you're seeing is real.
Right.
And so Content Credentials is trying to fix that by using digital metadata tagging. It's like a fingerprint in every image that tracks the entire history, like where it came from and how it's been edited or changed, even by AI.
So you're saying we can trace an image back to its source and see if someone's messed with it? That's wild.
Exactly. And with AI image generation becoming so advanced, this kind of verification is going to be crucial to make sure we can trust what we see.
Makes sense. Okay, well, speaking of trust, Apple just did something really surprising. They approved the first ever porn app for iPhones.
That's right.
It's called Hot Tub, and it's launching in Europe.
Yeah, it looks like this is a direct consequence of the EU's Digital Markets Act, which is trying to give users more control over what apps they can get. Apple had to loosen their App Store policies to comply.
And here's where things get really interesting. The app is launching on an alternative app store called AltStore PLL, and they're donating all their February earnings to charities for sex workers and LGBTQ plus causes.
Wow.
I know, right?
It's going to be interesting to see how this impacts the adult entertainment industry and what it means for Apple's App Store, too.
A lot to think about, for sure.
Yep.
Okay, let's switch gears now to something that might affect some of our listeners directly. Microsoft's removing the VPN feature from their Microsoft 365 subscription.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they're saying not enough people were using it.
Yeah, it seems like the 50 GB data limit and some of those restrictions on local connections weren't appealing to most people.
Yeah, perfect.
Can you quickly explain what a VPN does and why this matters for people who aren't super techie?
Sure. So a VPN or virtual private network is like a secret tunnel for your internet traffic. It encrypts your data so it's harder for others to snoop, and it hides your IP address, which can protect your privacy and location.
So if Microsoft 365 is ditching their VPN, what should people who are using it do?
Well, if you were relying on it for online privacy, you'll want to look into other VPN services. There are a lot of great options out there. But it is good to know that Microsoft is still offering those identity theft and credit monitoring services.
Okay, good to know. Now for some lighter news. Remember Microsoft Paint?
Oh,
It's getting an AI makeover. They're adding a Copilot button that unlocks a whole bunch of AI painting tools.
It's like they're bringing paint into the future.
Right, it's pretty cool.
This is a really good example of how Microsoft is trying to make AI more accessible for everyone. With this update, anyone can use Paint to generate images, erase things seamlessly, or even co-create with the AI. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy how tech can revitalize even the simplest tools. So speaking of potential, let's talk about NVIDIA. They're facing some competition from a company called DeepSeek in the AI hardware world.
Right, so NVIDIA's been bragging about their RTX 50 series GPUs being the fastest for running DeepSeek's AI models.
And how did DeepSeek respond?
They came back swinging. They claim their R1 model can get similar performance without needing NVIDIA's expensive high-end hardware.
So they're basically challenging the idea that you need the most powerful hardware for cutting-edge AI.
Exactly. They're pushing the idea that efficiency is becoming just as important as raw power in the AI world. This could totally change the game for AI hardware.
So what does NVIDIA have to say about all this?
Well, they're sticking to their guns. They still claim their GPUs are the best for peak performance in specific AI tasks like inference, which is basically using AI models to make predictions based on new data. It sounds like there's room for both approaches, depending on what you're trying to do.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, this next story is a little more serious. WhatsApp recently shut down a big spyware campaign that was targeting journalists and members of civil society.
It's pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, around 90 people were targeted, and WhatsApp says the culprit is Paragon Solutions, an Israeli company that makes surveillance tech.
It really makes you think about the darker side of the digital world. It's unsettling to think someone could be spying on your private conversations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, back to DeepSeek for a second. They're teaming up with Microsoft to bring their R1 AI model to Copilot plus PCs.
This is huge for DeepSeek. It gets them right into the hands of everyday consumers. And what's really interesting is that the R1 model is designed to run directly on your computer. You don't need the cloud.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it starts with devices using Snapdragon X chips, which are known for being efficient, and then it's going to roll out to Intel and AMD systems too.
So AI is literally coming to our computers.
Pretty much. It raises some big questions about how AI will change our lives and the ethical implications too. Plus, there's still that whole thing about DeepSeek maybe using OpenAI's technology without permission.
Right. It seems like innovation and controversy go hand in hand in tech.
Yeah.
Well, Google's been busy too. They've given their Gemini side panel in Google Sheets a big AI upgrade.
Yeah, this is great news for anyone who works with data a lot. Imagine being able to ask Gemini to show you trends or correlations in your data, and then it instantly makes a chart to show you those relationships. It's like having a personal data analyst built right into your spreadsheet.
That's amazing. Are there any downsides?
A couple things. The charts are static, so they won't update if you change the data in your spreadsheet. And right now, it's only for Google One AI Premium and Workspace Business Enterprise customers.
So not for us regular folks just yet.
Not yet, but hopefully soon.
Well, maybe while we're waiting, we can use Google's other new AI tool, Ask For Me. This one sounds pretty wild.
Right, it's an AI that can make calls to local businesses for you. Seriously. Right now, it's just for nail salons and auto shops, but the potential is huge. Imagine telling your AI to find you a nail salon that's open late, check their prices, and even book you an appointment.
Okay, that is pretty amazing. But what about the businesses getting these AI calls? Won't that be confusing?
It could be. The calls do say they're powered by Google, but it's definitely a new thing, and it'll take some time for everyone to get used to it.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I think that's a good place to stop for now. We've covered a lot of ground today, and I'm already looking forward to diving into more next time.
Same here. It's amazing to see all this new technology and how it's shaping our world.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week for another deep dive into the world of tech.
See you then. Yeah, it definitely raises some interesting questions about customer service and the future of how we interact with businesses. But, going back to that WhatsApp spyware thing.
Yeah, some security experts are saying WhatsApp should release more information about the attack, like how the spyware worked and how they stopped it.
Right. The idea is that if other tech companies knew more about how it happened, they could maybe find and fix vulnerabilities in their own systems before they get attacked. It's like a collective defense thing against these cyber threats.
Makes sense.
Mm.
But I can also see why WhatsApp wouldn't want to give away all their secrets.
Yeah, of course.
Like if they reveal too much about their security, wouldn't that just make it easier for the bad guys to make even more advanced spyware?
It's tough, right? There are good arguments on both sides. Transparency is great for collaboration, but too much information could backfire.
It's like a constant battle between security and those who want to exploit it.
Exactly. It's a reminder that digital security is not a one-and-done thing. It's a constant process of staying vigilant, adapting, and working together.
Well said. Okay, let's move on to something more positive. We were talking about DeepSeek partnering with Microsoft to bring their R1 AI model to those PCs, starting with the ones using Snapdragon X chips. That's a big step towards making AI more accessible to everyone, right?
Definitely. One of the coolest things about this partnership is their focus on on-device AI processing. So instead of sending data to the cloud to be processed, DeepSeek's R1 model does everything right on your computer.
Wow, so it's all happening locally. What's the advantage of that?
Well, for one thing, it's way faster. There's no lag time waiting for data to go to a server and back. It's really noticeable for things like image editing, voice recognition, anything that needs to happen in real time.
That makes sense. What else?
It's also potentially better for privacy. Since your data is staying on your device, there's less risk of it being intercepted or hacked during transfer.
That's a good point. But didn't you also mention that DeepSeek might be in hot water for using OpenAI's technology without permission?
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's still being investigated, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Speaking of Google, they've been busy too.
Yeah.
They gave their Gemini side panel in Google Sheets a huge AI upgrade.
It's a really big deal for people who work with data. Imagine being able to ask Gemini to show you trends or correlations in your data, and then boom, it creates a chart right there in front of you.
That sounds super useful. Any downsides?
Well, right now the charts are static, so if you change the data, the chart doesn't update automatically. Also, it's only available for Google One AI Premium and those Workspace Business or Enterprise customers.
So us regular folks are out of luck for now.
For now, yeah.
Well, while we're waiting, maybe we can try out Google's other new AI tool.
Yeah, ask for me.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
They can actually make phone calls to businesses for you.
Right now, it's just for nail salons and auto shops, but it has so much potential. Think about it. You could tell your AI to call a mechanic, get a quote for an oil change, and even book an appointment if the price is right.
Okay, that's actually really awesome. But won't it be weird for the businesses getting calls from an AI?
It probably will be at first.
Mm,
The calls do announce that they're powered by Google, but
yeah.
it's definitely new territory, so I'm sure there will be some bumps along the way, for sure. It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out, like
Absolutely.
having a personal data analyst right there in your spreadsheet.
Exactly. And it could save you so much time, especially if you're not a data whiz. You can just ask Gemini to find those hidden insights.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But you mentioned there are some limitations, right?
Yeah, a couple of things. So first, the charts it makes are static. They don't update if you change the data. And also, it's only available for those Google One AI Premium and Workspace Business or Enterprise users.
Ah, so not for the regular folks yet.
Not yet, but hopefully sometime soon.
Well, maybe while we wait, we can check out Google's other new AI tool, Ask for Me, the one that can actually make calls for you.
Yeah, that's the one. Right now, it's just for nail salons and auto shops, but think about the possibilities. It could call your doctor, make appointments, even confirm your insurance.
Wow, that would be so convenient.
Right.
But it does make you wonder about the future of customer service.
Yeah.
Are we all going to be talking to AI instead of real people soon?
It's possible AI could make things so much faster and more efficient. But then there's the human element. Will AI ever really understand what we need?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It seems like finding that balance between AI and human interaction is going to be key.
Definitely. It's something we'll all need to think about as AI becomes more common.
Okay, well, we've covered so much today. AI image generation, AI spreadsheets, spyware, AI assistants.
Yeah.
It's been a wild ride.
It has, but it just shows how fast technology is changing and how important it is to stay informed.
I totally agree. And I always learn so much from these conversations with you.
Thanks. I enjoy them too.
It's fascinating to see all this new tech and how it's changing the world.
That's all for this week. Remember to follow us on YouTube, blueskyandx.com for hourly news updates. Stay connected.